In December of 2025, Canada's pending asylum claims reached an unprecedented 300,000 cases. Hi. It's nice to be back. Happy New Year. 2026 is already being marked by several crises that are rapidly destroying Canada's once strong immigration consensus. If Canada is to have any hope of continuing to be a welcoming country, it's incumbent upon the federal Liberal government to take swift, decisive action to address several problems, which are largely attributable to a decade of Liberal policy failures.
Everybody honest would admit that. I think even Liberals deep down, like even the Liberals that like Trudeau, I think would admit that, or they should. Like, that was such a massive failure, and it continues to be today.
And so today, in my role as Shadow Minister for Immigration, ahead of the resumption of the House of Commons, I'm calling upon the Liberals to undertake a series of swift policy actions to address three looming crises to restore order, fairness, and compassion to Canada's immigration system. These actions build upon the comprehensive suite of policy proposals that Conservatives announced last fall. The first crisis. Millions of people in Canada are currently on expired or soon to expire temporary visas. The Liberals have no credible plan to remove them while simultaneously inviting hundreds of thousands more temporary residents into the country. Millions of people are now residing in Canada with temporary permits that have expired or will expire this year, and many are unwilling to leave.
Oh my gosh.
This incredible circumstance is a direct result of the Liberals issuing massive, unsustainable numbers of temporary resident permits.
Exactly. There was never a debate in Canada really about should we import millions and millions of people from India and other places. I don't remember that in any of the leadership debates. It was like affordability, or I remember the MAID, medical assistance in dying, was a debate topic. There was never a debate we're going to import 10 million people from India and other places. Is this good or bad? This was just like done by the Liberal government, and we're all suffering, including the immigrants.
In a very short period of time. Adding to the severity of this crisis are 500,000 undocumented persons in the country. Compounding this issue is last year's immigration levels plan, where the Liberals announced that they are going to issue hundreds of thousands more temporary permits in 2026. The Liberals predicated these levels on the assumption that millions of people with expired or expiring visas will leave. This isn't fair to anyone. Undocumented persons are forced to work on a black market for labor, while Canadians are facing an acute housing shortage, a healthcare system failure, and youth jobs crisis. If the Liberals bring in hundreds of thousands of more temporary residents without a credible plan to remove millions of people who no longer have a legal reason to be in the country, these problems will only worsen.
For sure.
That the Liberals are ignoring this reality through their policy choices is both uncompassionate and disturbing. Making the challenge of resolving this crisis worse, the Liberals did not implement an exit tracking system prior to inviting millions of temporary residents to the country, nor did they reform the asylum system to reduce the incentives for people with expiring visas to abuse the system in order to stay in Canada.
If your visa runs out, get the hell out of the country. That's so insane. If your visa runs out and you stay in Canada, you're a scumbag. Go back to where you came from.
This matter, our call to action is this. In order for Canada to rebuild its consensus...
It's so insane that that's even considered controversial. Imagine if you're a Canadian and you did that. You had a visa and you went to Bali and you're just like, well, no, I'm just going to live here now. Do you think the Balinese people are supposed to just be like, well, I guess it's compassionate to just let you live here? Give me a break. If you're on these temporary visas and you overstay, you're obviously a scumbag.
In order for Canada to rebuild its consensus for immigration, the law must be enforced. Temporary has to mean temporary. So Conservatives call upon the Liberal government to table a plan by the end of this month to tell Canadians how they plan to enforce existing Canadian law and get millions of people with expiring visas to leave Canada this year. Crisis number 2. Tens of thousands of new illegal border crossers are making asylum claims, while truly persecuted persons in Canada are being left in limbo. In December of 2025, Canada's pending asylum claims reached an unprecedented 300,000 cases, many from illegal border crossers entering Canada from the United States. This is up from less than 10,000 in 2015. To put that in perspective, under the Liberal government, Canada's asylum backlog now exceeds the population of a city like Windsor, Ontario.
What are all these asylum claims? What percentage of those asylum claims do you think are legitimate? Very low. The number is going to be very low. Oh, I need asylum. By the way, a lot of people that do these asylum claims go back and visit their country. Is that not the biggest crock of crap you've ever heard? Oh, I need asylum, but I'm going to go back and vacation there for a while, then come back. I'm going to flee. I'm going to keep fleeing the country and needing asylum again.
People who make a claim can now expect to remain in Canada for many years prior to their claim being examined and are eligible for generous social benefits while their claim is pending.
Oh my God.
This failure is the result of a decade of Liberal policies that have encouraged the abuse of our system, straining housing, healthcare, and the job market while eroding public support for controlled immigration. And this backlog is about to get a lot worse.
It's totally eroded public support for immigration. So many Canadians are finally so sick of this, like so much goodwill or whatever in immigration has been just totally lost because everybody sees it. You see it when you need to get a doctor's appointment, the backlogs. You see it in other ways, other areas of life as well. In a lot of major cities, it's like this group from this country hanging out with their people. Same with this other group here, this other group here. That is not good. That's not cute. That's fun for like a few days because you're like, oh, they're doing their own cultural thing. It's not fun when you actually have to live in a situation like that with all these just disparate groups interacting with one another. Where's the community in that?
Up to 350,000 Haitian nationals currently in the United States face termination of their temporary protected status effective February 3rd, 2026. Temporary protected status is an American program that temporarily prevents people without legal status in the United States from deportation during crises in their home country. Said differently, the United States has ordered that about 350,000 Haitian nationals without legal status must now return home. This matters to Canada because many will attempt to enter our country illegally in order to avoid removal. History shows that this is a pattern. When Haitians in the United States first faced temporary protected status revocation nearly a decade ago, Canada experienced a major increase in illegal crossings and asylum claims. Canadian government data confirms this trend. In recent months, despite the Safe Third Country Agreement, the formal arrangements where refugees can only make a claim in the first country they arrive in, thousands of Haitians have crossed illegally into Canada and filed asylum claims after having been found to have no legal reason to be in the United States. From 2017 to 2024, about 40,000 Haitians made such claims in Canada.
Oh my.
And in last year alone, nearly 12,000 did so. This number is likely to further surge after February 3rd, precisely at a time when Canada has extremely limited capacity or frankly social willingness to process and provide support to tens of thousands of new asylum claimants who have likely already had their claims rejected in the U.S. This wave of potential new...
Man, this is incredible. I wonder what the actual... If I go to ChatGPT, I'm going to ask what percentage of asylum claims are legitimate. Use, I'll say recent asylum claims. Show USA and Canada data. What do you think this is going to be? I think it's going to be like, I mean, I don't know if ChatGPT is going to even accurately be able to determine this because this number probably is somewhat inherently unknown. Recent decision level data suggests less than 20 to 40% of adjudicated claims are approved. The Canadian asylum recognition rate, claims accepted on the merits, was about 82%. The acceptance rate has risen over the past decade. For example, is around, so we accept 80% protection being granted in the most recent complete data. So 80% roughly of asylum claims in Canada are accepted. How many asylum claims were there in Canada in 2025, 2024? Show data for last 10 years in a chart. Canada, asylum claims. Yeah, 2015, around 16,000. Doesn't have data for 16, 17. Look at this, 2019, 64. 2020, like 25 to 30. 2021, 25, again, pandemic. Then 92, 144, 147. 2025, data, 57K just for half the year, and then estimated 115. Like, that's obviously a very unnatural jump. The world, by the way, globally, from 2015 till 2025 didn't get worse, not globally. So there's no reason there needs to be all that extra asylum claim. It went up basically by over 10 times. And we accept 80% of these people. So basically you can just come to Canada and say you're seeking asylum, and then we'll accept you. That is totally bullshit. That is so sad. That is so brutal. No wonder there's so many reasons why the Canadian system is just falling apart and people die waiting for medical care. It's very difficult to get doctor's appointments all over the country. Everything is so backed up. It's so insane that we've allowed this to happen as a country. It's actually very pathetic. We're almost like a self-hating group of people at this point.
Arrivals raises humanitarian, security, and infrastructure concerns. Many are attempting to enter Canada during frigid winter weather. Without strong deterrence, there will be more dangerous winter crossings attempted, as well as human trafficking, as seen in recent RCMP arrests and the interception of a U-Haul with 44 suspected Haitian trafficking victims. The Liberal government has deemed the United
There was one U-Haul with 44 Haitians in it?
44 suspected Haitian trafficking victims.
Trafficking victims.
And the interception of a U-Haul with 44 suspected Haitian trafficking victims.
Oh my gosh.
The Liberal government has deemed the United States a safe third country. That is, if someone reaches the United States, they are obligated to make an asylum claim there and are subsequently ineligible to file a claim in Canada. However, the Liberal government has failed to close a major loophole in the Safe Third Country Agreement. An overly broad definition of family allows illegal crossers to claim asylum if they have relatives in Canada, and this includes spouses, common law partners, children of any age, parents, siblings, grandparents, grandchildren, aunts, uncles, nieces, and nephews.
Come on. That's, oh my God. They could do everything. Everybody then. You have a relative in Canada, you can do that?
Even if those family members only have pending asylum claims themselves. This enables chains of potentially bogus asylum claims amid prolonged processing.
I mean, this is such a racket. It just sounds like if you want to go to Canada and claim asylum, you just can do that. Your uncle can have a pending asylum claim if it's even your real uncle. And that's enough? What are we doing?
And rare removals. Furthermore, the Liberal government has shown reluctance to crack down on human traffickers who profit off of illegally transporting people across the border, or to adopt conservative proposals that would reform social benefits that may incentivize bogus asylum claimants. When combined with prolonged processing delays, these benefits serve as incentives to make bogus applications. The existing backlog, already enormous, will only grow larger, further straining Canada's welfare resources, housing, and healthcare systems that should prioritize Canadians and genuine refugees. This is not compassionate or fair to anyone. I realize that this is a difficult topic, but it is an urgent matter that the government must address.
It is, and it really actually shouldn't even be a difficult topic. Everybody across the political spectrum should be outraged by this. And it shouldn't be a controversial topic. And if you think it's a controversial topic, you are just a total, like, I'm going to hold back because I just think you generally suck as a person if you think this is controversial to talk about or racist or like anything like that. I know there are people out there obviously like that, and they suck.
For example, the Liberals have broken promises to persecuted groups who are already in Canada, such as those from Ukraine, Hong Kong, and Sudan, leaving them in limbo while prioritizing resources for illegal crossers who may have questionable claims. This is wrong. Canada has a finite capacity to provide support, shelter, and protection to vulnerable persons.
You like this, Mark Pilon? You like all this crazy asylum stuff? Is that what you're saying? You're pro letting the world come into Canada? Or are you saying that, or do I misunderstand your point?
The Liberals should be prioritizing truly protected persons as opposed to making space for bogus asylum claimants. So our call to action on this issue is as follows. Conservatives will use the upcoming parliamentary session to restore order and fairness to Canada's broken asylum system by continuing to champion the suite of asylum system reforms we introduced as amendments to Bill C-12. And if illegal border crossers numbers continues to surge, call on the Liberals to examine the potential preemptive use of Section 20.1 of the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act to uphold the spirit of the Safe Third Country Agreement and designate certain nationals crossing illegally from the U.S.
No, not you. Not you, Emrat. This Mark, I don't know if it showed up on the Mark Pilon, whoever that is. I don't know if it showed up on your thing. You might have to go to live chat instead of top chat.
As an irregular group arrival, triggering measures that would deter mass winter crossings and human trafficking and potentially save lives. Push for the Liberals to rigorously enforce Sections 117 through 121 of the Immigration Refugee Protection Act, which impose severe penalties on traffickers, including fines, imprisonment, and deportation bans. Calling on the Liberals to seek urgent cooperation with the United States to close the family loophole in the Safe Third Country Agreement by narrowing the definition to match Canada's definition, which is standard for family class, which is spouses, common law or conjugal partners, dependent children, generally under the age of 22, parents and grandparents. We will also call for...
Look, even that's probably too broad, but that's more reasonable than your uncle. Like, that's clown world. Your aunt, your niece, that's insane. Your grandparent, parent, I think that might even be too generous still.
Importantly, to honor commitments to persecuted groups already in Canada by pausing the acceptance of new government-assisted refugees and reallocating those spots to eligible individuals already in Canada from Ukraine, Hong Kong, and Sudan. And the last crisis. Non-citizens convicted of serious crimes are being given lenient sentences in order to allow them to avoid deportation. Almost every week, another high-profile incident comes to light of a non-citizen convicted of serious crimes getting a lenient sentence and avoiding deportation. In the last 2 months...
Man, that is so incredible. Why does Canada have to be pretty much one of the only countries on earth that would do that? It's so stupid. You would never get away with that in the majority of countries. They would totally laugh in your face if you even suggested such a thing. Can you make my sentence less after I committed a crime because I don't want to get deported and I'm also not a real citizen? What like, it sounds too stupid when you say it. I think if you put that into a movie, people would say this is not believable. No country is this stupid.
We've seen stories about a truck driver who recklessly killed a 23-year-old Caledon woman who got 55 days in jail. A man convicted of child porn possession or child sexual abuse material who knew it was a crime when he watched it was given leniency as the judge gave him 6 months less a day, which the judge explicitly said was to avoid immigration consequences.
Oh my gosh, man. Get that guy the hell out of the country right now.
A man who pleaded guilty to abducting a 9-year-old boy he didn't know awaits sentencing after asking for 6 months less a day to avoid immigration consequences. This situation is perpetuating a two-tier justice system in Canada wherein non-citizens are treated differently than Canadian citizens.
That's the Canadian way. The non-citizens get special treatment. Non-citizens, and if you're an Indigenous leader, you get treated better somehow than a Canadian that grew up here. It's pathetic.
This is causing the rapid erosion of Canada's consensus on immigration, as well as it is unfair to Canadian victims of crime. Therefore, we call upon the Liberals to rapidly pass Bill C-20, my bill to end the practice of giving non-citizens convicted of serious crimes leniency in sentencing in order to help them avoid deportation. In the upcoming session, Conservatives will continue to pressure the Liberals to pass common sense policies we proposed last fall, as well as to take the action that we've outlined today. Thank you.
The Federal Court of Appeal ruled today that
was good. She was spitting facts there. I hope that message, hope that video at least takes off and more people are aware